Hey guys, IronFix here for the third episode of my series on StarCraft 2 Gears plugin. Yeah, so last time we created pretty nice little plugin who was showing a frame and the background on this frame. So if we just export this and we look at it, there we go. Open up StarCraft 2 Gears. We should get something that looks like that, or with the image you chose. Alright, so today we're just gonna take a look at how to get some information from a replay. And yeah, so that's it. Close this, and we're gonna go right into Eclipse. Alright, so we're gonna create, we could do all of this in the init method, but I prefer to do it in other method. And you could create your own class for this one and just call your class in this. But I'm just gonna create a new method since it's not really big, and it's gonna be just easier. Alright, so it's a public void. We could call it, what could we call it? We could call it game, because we're getting info from the game. Alright, so first thing we want to do is get the replay, right? So it's an I replay, and the I and the R are capitalized. Alright, so I replay, import it, and just give it a name, and then import it. Import replay. Alright, I replay, you can name it whatever you want, and or yeah, just name it a replay, and it can just equal null for a moment. And first of all, we need a string actually. So a string, and it's gonna be replay path, and it's gonna equal to something. So specific replay we want. So just go into your documents, StarCraft 2, accounts, your account, replays, multiplayer, and get a replay you want. Let's say we want this one. Alright, so Control C to copy the name. Copy the name .sc2 replay. Alright, and we need the actual location of this. So properties, and just copy all this. Control C, and if I doesn't matter. Alright, so Control V in here, and just add this, and it's gonna give you an error simply because you need to change all of those backslashes to some forward slashes. Alright, because the backslashes are used for some HTML formatting. So if I've been like \b, it's gonna be in bold, and p, it's a new paragraph, or not, like \n, new line, etc. Alright, so you get this path. Now you want to set your replay to be something. So just go and say replay is going to equal to general services dot get replay, or not get replay, but get replay factory API dot get replay. And this takes two arguments. So the first one will be replay path, which is the path, and the other one just leave it null, and that's it. Alright. So now we have our replay. We want to get our players though. So iPlayer players, and it's gonna be an array. So just leave it to null now, for now. So import player, iPlayer I should say. Alright, so this players is an array, which you can see with those two brackets here, square brackets. Alright, so an array is not like if I could create like a string array, so an array of strings, array, just call it, and it would be equal to a lot of strings. So in it you could have a first string that would be 1, then you would have another string that would be 2, and then you would have another string that would be 3, and etc, etc. Right, so then if you go like array and then 0, and you printed that out, it would give you the first one, which is 1. But this does not work like that. You can't just declare that like that. But anyway, that's the idea of this, of an array. So this array is going to be equal to replay.getPlayers. Okay. Alright, so now we want to use this players to extract some data from it. So what we could do is say players 0 dot and then do the thing we want to do and do it back again for the player 1 and print all of that. But I don't want to do that. I don't want to do it twice, so I'm just gonna create a for loop. Okay, so just gonna type it and then I'm gonna explain to you what it does. So there we go. Alright, so what we're doing is we're saying if for loop is just as an if statement. So if something, then you do what's in it. Alright, but it's instead of an if, it's a for. So for this int we created, so this int, which is I, is equal to 0. So we're creating an int and we're giving it the value of 0. Then we're saying for I is smaller than 2. So when I is actually smaller than 2, then do the thing in it and then add 1 to I. So the next time it's gonna loop in, it's gonna check if I is smaller than 2. Yes, it's still smaller than 2. It's 1, and then it's gonna do what's in it a second time, and then it's gonna go I plus plus. So I plus 1. So it's gonna be I is gonna be equal to 2. So it's not anymore smaller than 2. So it's gonna check, is I smaller than 2? No. Alright, so we're done with that for loop. We can go to the next line of code. Alright, so in it we just want to say we're gonna need a few things. So we want to get the name, the race, the victor I should say, and what could we get? Name, race, victor, and what would be nice? Well, I think it's pretty much it. Alright, so we're gonna first need a string called name. We're gonna need another one, which will be race, and we're gonna need a boolean for the victory. So victory. Oh, how did I write that? Victory. Alright. And we're gonna need an int, which will be just in for int, which because just int I is already used. So I could call it I1. Alright, so it's gonna be I plus 1. Alright. Okay, so in here we want to say this name, it's gonna be equal to players at so we could do like players and then 0 for the first player, but instead we're gonna go players I, so the one with the value I, and since this value is changing, it's gonna get 2 players, so the first one, which will be 0, and the second one, which will be 1. Alright, so players I dot get, so we could get the name with the clan, but it's not really nice. I don't find it really well, it's not like nice. I don't like it. Anyway, so just go and get player ID dot get full name, or get name actually, and it's just gonna return the name. And for the race, it's gonna equal same thing, so players I dot but this time just get race string. And for the victory, it's gonna be equal to players I dot get or actually I think it's is winner. Yeah, exactly. Alright, so and I didn't put equal. Alright, equal. Perfect. Then we want to set a if loop, not an if loop, an if statement, and it's gonna be need an else. And in here we want to say if victory. So if the player actually won, we're gonna print out something like system.out.println, and we're gonna print player number, and then you want to add these I1, and you want to add another thing, which we just semicolon with space, and then you want to add the name, so we get his name plus a space, actually a comma and a space, plus the race, might be good, plus Plus what could we, plus a race and comma and victory. So if he won, so if victory is true, we're gonna print out his player number, so which will be either 1 or 2, or 0 or 1, I should say. Yeah, his player number will be 0 or 1, sorry, but what we're gonna print is that plus 1, so 1 or 2. Alright, and then we're gonna print out his name, so the name, then the race he played, and then the victory. Either, well, if he won, it's gonna be print out victory, and if he was defeated, you're gonna print the same thing but with defeat instead. Alright, and that's it. So just export this, open up StarCraft 2 Gears, and here we go. So get this plugin frame, then we can go under help and view system messages, and this does not work. Did not work at all. Alright, we're just gonna start this over, export it. It's jar file, it's good directory, great. Yes, I want to override it. Okay. Why isn't it working? What is wrong? Oh, am so stupid. Okay. Well, this is pretty confusing. I tried this like earlier today just to make sure it was working and everything was fine, and I did the exact same stupid thing. Alright, so problem is this is a separate method. Alright, so first time I did it in the init method, so everything was working fine, but you actually need to call this method in your init method, or it's never gonna be called, and it's never gonna run. That's why. Alright, so game, export it. There we go. And this should work just fine. And help, view system messages. There we go. So player number 1, Carnifex, which was a Zerg, had the victory, and Asia Power QC, which was random, and finally played Terran, was defeated. And for those who wonder, I am Carnifex, so I won, haha. Yeah, so that laugh, kind of awkward. Anyway, so that's it. I had something else I wanted to do. What was it? Yeah, I wanted to do well, you see, let's say you have another replay. It's not a 1v1. It's a, let's say 2v2. You'd have to pop this up to 4, so it's gonna loop from 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, and 3. So 4 players. If it's 3v3, it's gonna be 6. 4v4, it's gonna be 8. So if you don't want to change this manually, because like you don't want, you'd have to get the player's length and print it out, like use the player's length. So you'd have to go players.length. There you go. And this is gonna say, like, let's say it's a 1v1. There's only 2 players, so the player's length is 2. Alright, so this will go through 2 times. Go through this for loop 2 times. It's if it's a 2v2, it's gonna be 4 players, so it's gonna do it 4 times. And if we export this, oops, not import, my bad. Export it, and we run. So I have 2 gears. Oh, wrong screen, my bad. And what did I do? Yeah, it's gonna, well, now it's doing it twice because it's only 2 players, 1v1. But if I go to my documents, StarCraft 2 replays, and I saved another replay, and it's not there, it's in accounts, replays, multiplayer. This is a 2v2, so just get the name, Control C, and replace this with the good name. And if if we export this, we're gonna get the 4 players. Switch the screen, help, view system messages, and we get 4 players. So I was playing with Z-Bomb, we were both Protoss versus A-Hype, Terran, and Fartface, or... Alright, this is kind of funny, Fartface. Anyway, so that's it for today's episode. And I thought that maybe in the next episode I would show you something that's a little bit more advanced and complicated, so I might separate it in 2 episodes. I don't know yet, but anyway, it's we're gonna get the URL from a player, so his battle.net URL, and then we're gonna get some information from the website, like his league, his points, and yeah, league points, name, anything you want, really. Anyway, so his rank, yeah. Anyway, so thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of StarCraft 2 Gears plugin development, and I hope I'll see you soon. Bye. And I wish I could shout you out.